So come on, let it go. Just let it be. Why don't you be you?
I'm gonna get this dude. I'm gonna get him. Nothing. Let's go. This was locked earlier. No, from Zando. KMS, this is for you. You've been chasing me around for 1.5 years now, and we still play this game. It's time for you to find out who I really am. But you must work for it. I'm not a ghost. I'm not from outer space. No, I'm one of you. So let the games begin. You need to know this about me. I love Mountie Nation. This is true, but I also love to have fun. I won't run anymore, and my notes will be few. Now pay attention to the clues I leave, and you'll soon know my true identity. By the way, your first clue has already been given in this video. See if you can pick up on it. All right, Mountie Nation. I don't know if you have to watch this, rewind it, but you're going to find out who Zando is. By the end of the year, see if you can crack the code.
You know what, Brooklyn? I think it's really cool when people can learn how to forgive each other.
Oh, I agree. Let's see what some of the students at Curtin Middle School think about forgiveness.
Without you, my friend.
Forgiveness is moving on.
Forgiveness is
accepting others' mistakes.
Forgiveness is letting go of the past.
Letting go of angry or hurtful feelings towards another.
Brooklyn, I want to learn how to forgive.
Well, let's take a look at some real-life examples of everyday forgiveness.
Hey man, you really sucked at basketball out there. You're just horrible. Hey man, sorry for what I said earlier. I didn't really mean that. You actually did pretty good. It's okay. Alright, thanks.
Wow, Brooklyn, those are some really good examples of how to forgive. Yeah, forgiving isn't always that easy, though. Let's take a look at some more examples.
Once our friends left us out from inviting us to a party.
But it kind of benefited because we forgave them.
I've had rumors spread about me, but once you forgive, you forget. Forgiving somebody for spreading a rumor about you is really hard, but once you forgive them, it benefits everybody.
I think Money Nation is really good at forgiveness.
Hey, Kidder Nation, I want to welcome you to this week's advisory. And as you might be able to tell from around me, and Mr. Kuhn's class has helped us with this, it's still February. In February, we typically look at and think of Valentine's Day. And right now, you guys are home. It's your day off. You're enjoying some President's Day weekend, and you're also enjoying over the weekend was Valentine's Day. But as you know, February also signifies Black History Month. And a couple weeks ago, we had an opportunity to learn a few things about Martin Luther King Jr., which was amazing. But this morning, I'd like for you to spend a few minutes learning from another very important figure in our world's history, but also influences us as well, and that's Nelson Mandela. I'd like for you to take a couple of minutes and watch this video, and I'll catch you on the other side.
I just want to speak to you about our visit to Robben Island, an experience I'll never forget. Located off the coast of South Africa, from the 1960s through the 1990s, this island housed a maximum security prison. Many of the prisoners there were activists who worked to bring down apartheid, the South African government's policies that discriminated against people of color. Among those imprisoned at Robben Island were 3 men who went on to become president of South Africa, including Nelson Mandela and the current president, Jacob Zuma. So as we toured the island, I couldn't help but think about how this place must have shaped these leaders. We saw the rock quarry, where they spent their days doing back-breaking work in the blinding sun, and the tiny cells where they spent their nights. It was amazing to see Mandela's cell, a tiny room about 6 feet wide, where he spent 18 of the 27 years he was in prison. He slept on a thin mat on the floor, and when he stretched out to sleep at night, his toes touched one wall while his head grazed the other. Yet despite these conditions, Mandela and his fellow prisoners never lost hope. As Mandela once said, "Prison, far from breaking our spirits, made us more determined to continue with this battle until victory was won." So when these prisoners were finally released, their spirits were far from broken. Mandela went on to lead the movement to end apartheid and set up a new democratic government. He won a Nobel Peace Prize and became South Africa's first Black president. While very few of us will ever encounter the kind of discrimination and brutality that Nelson Mandela endured, all of us can learn important lessons from his struggle. We can learn about the importance of standing up for what you believe in, no matter what the cost. We can learn about how, with self-discipline and courage, we can overcome the most unthinkable hardships. And we can learn about the power of forgiveness, to turn enemies into friends, and to help us move forward from a troubled past to a more hopeful future.
The life of Nelson Mandela. We have a lot to learn from a man like that. Very much like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he spent his life fighting for racial equality. I just wonder sometimes what would have happened if, instead of coming out and choosing peace and forgiveness, I wonder if Nelson Mandela would have chosen anger and bitterness, or he would have chosen a civil war to lead people against the government, to forcefully overthrow the government. South Africa would be in turmoil right now instead of the flourishing country it is today. You know, the world's a different place because of Nelson Mandela. And I want to say that we have a lot here at Northwest to learn from him in the area of conflict. We run into people all the time. They could be locker mates, classmates. They could be teachers, teammates even. At the end of the day, we run into people and we need people. But our worlds collide often and there's conflict. And whether we've been treated poorly or whether we treated others poorly. There's this idea that Nelson Mandela talked about, this idea of forgiveness, that we have something to learn from. So what do we do when we've been wronged? I mean, again, you've been in middle school, you know what it's about. We find a lot of people and we get friends and we talk about other people or we spread rumors about them. And again, it's very much like starting a civil war. There's a mini civil war in our hallways. People are mad at each other, feelings get hurt, and there's no end to the conflict. We're bitter towards other people and we become angry, bitter people ourselves. But there's a better way. In advisory today, I want you to talk a little bit about the idea of forgiveness. When you have conflict, how does forgiveness really help that? The other thing I want you to talk about is this concept of hurting people hurt people. What does that mean? I think that's important for us to know as well. I hope you have a good advisory, and welcome back to school.